So what you must do now is you must look and be very vigilant for all the people that you think that we love. And we're going to go through what's called A.T.F. Okay? There's 5 steps in A.T.F. And it's called Advance Through Forgiveness. So the first step, I'll just read what is here beforehand. And again, anybody, this is on the website, A.T.F. No gift of heaven has been more misunderstood than has forgiveness. And that has a lot to do with religion's form of forgiveness, where we believe, I'm forgiving you. I'm forgiving you for hurting me. I'm forgiving you because you're sinful and it's God's will that we forgive the sinners. Okay? So we're always believing we're forgiving the other person for what they have done. That's the ego's form of forgiveness. You're seeing this other person separate from you. It's impossible that you can forgive anybody else for anything. It's impossible to look upon the body and not see sin. Why is that? What is sin? It's the symbol of separation. So when I see your body here and my body, I'm seeing you as a body as separate from me. And that's what the symbol of the body is. It's the symbol that we are separate. In spirit, okay, in the spiritual universe, we don't have that perception. We all know that we're one with each other. You cannot...
In the spiritual universe, do you not have a soul or something like in your script and stuff? So there's this form of separation.
Yes, but you see, the problem is when you're asleep down here, when you go back into the spiritual universe, you're waking up very slightly. You do your life review, you write your new script, your new life, and you come back in again. So you're basically up there and you're straight back down here again.
Yeah, but up there, there's some sense of separation. There's a you.
Well, there's your soul, but in essence, you know that you're at one with everybody. And you see, this is why the veil, when we come in, we forget we're spirit. Because we need to believe that we're separate. It's only down here that we can actually project the shadow, the hate, and everything, isn't it? And that's why we're here, is to correct that belief in ourselves, which is to correct the belief in separation. But we'll do that the next script. We're going to be doing the script. What happens when we die, what happens when we go back in, when we write the script. We'll do that the next time. So the step 1 here, right, in A.T.F. Is this a call for love or an extension of love? Step 1. Okay, so what's the call for love? When someone... Yes, yeah, no. Leave judgment alone.
Forgiveness.
Judgment's not the problem. All right? Okay. If, Joe, you're being angry with me, okay, and I react to that, who's calling for love?
You.
Me. Never him. Never. It's my call for love because I have reacted. Joe has just shown me something about myself. And funny thing was, you know, at the last teacher's course, everybody thought it was the other person's call for love. Joe's calling, he's showing me because of my reaction.
He's
it's
the
my,
teacher.
yes, it's my call for love. Okay? Okay, so it's very important that if you think it's the other person calling for love, all right, then you're denying your own call for love.
If you react.
Yeah. No, yeah. So what really happening here is, right, it's only you that can call for love. It's only you can extend love, it's only you can call for love. And the other person, Joe, is showing me there's a part of myself that I don't like, that I hate. And that's the part that has reacted. Okay? It's never about me trying to fix Joe or make Joe a better person. Everybody in our lives are there to reflect back how we see ourselves. Very important, this first step. Okay? Never ever see it as the other person's call for love. The other person will show us our own call for love.
What would be the part in that case that we don't like?
Could be anything.
In the anger instance?
Yeah, but we'll get to that next time. All right, we're going to go through the steps in this. All right, so the first step is I have to recognize. All right, if I see this as Joe's call for love, then I'm denying that it's anything to do with me. I've reacted, and I'm denying now that I've reacted. And I'm saying I have to forgive this person because this is what the Course tells us, or this is what, you know, spirituality tells us, or whatever. Okay? Joe was always showing me a part of myself. All right? So when you recognize that part, all right, then you can move on to the next step. So step 2, recognize that what you see in another is what you have not forgiven in yourself. So if I see the anger in Joe, because I've recognized it's my call for love, where is the anger?
In me.
In me.
What I have not forgiven in myself, is it?
Yes. I have not forgiven the anger in me. And what is anger? It's the effect of guilt. So when you recognize this aspect, all right, it's very important that you recognize the aspect. Maybe Joe's been very aggressive. Maybe he's been unloving. So if he's been aggressive, he's showing me that aggressive nature that's inside me. If he's showing me unloving, he's showing me the unloving part of myself.
Recognize what did you say? Recognize the something.
Aspect.
The aspect.
Oh yeah, right.
Okay. Because you see, when you're waking up, all right, what you're going to do is see the truth in everything. That's what being awakened is. There's 2 ways to see and there's 2 ways to hear. All right? When I see the anger in Joe and I'm blaming him, I'm looking with the ego. When I see the anger in Joe and I recognize that it's my anger, that's vision. That's seeing the truth. Okay? And we're all good at denying the truth. Okay? So as long as we keep blaming the other person, we're always in denial of the truth. And it's the truth that's going to set you free.
Is Joe is Joe the same as you? Is he doing the same, like as in the anger that he's putting out is?
Nothing to do with Joe. Absolutely. Never ever buy into the other person.
And even things like manipulation.
Doesn't matter. Because I never ever, when I doing psychotherapy with people and bring in the third person, I don't want to hear about it. Okay, because all what you're trying to do then is you're trying to proportion some form of the blame onto this other person or justify the other person's behavior. And we're all very good at that. Never about the other person. Leave the story out of it. Because if you buy into the story, then you're getting caught again. You're going to be into a world of complexity and it's all there to deceive you. All it is Joe, is a mirror to me. And what we do in life is, right, we're always trying to change the mirror because we don't like what we see in it. And it's like people who originally have a spiritual awakening or something, they want everybody in their lives then to be spiritual. So they start, oh, you have to do this, and you have to do this, and you have to do this. Again, they're denying that part of themselves. Don't do that. Just recognize everyone as a mirror. Okay? And then you disassociate from the story. Alright? So whatever you see in the other person, don't turn around and say, well, you know, the world's not real and there's nobody out there anyway. You know, and this has been 2 of the things I've heard a lot of people saying. You know, one lady keeps saying, there's nobody out there. And I said, do you see anybody out there? Yeah. Well, that's just, you're in denial now.
Does the story not encompass the aspect, no?
The story will embellish it, justify it, rationalize it, intellectualize it. Doesn't matter. Joe is showing me the part of myself.
But you need to recognise what you show.
Exactly. Stick with it because, you know, you won't.
Whatever you feel, that's what you're being shown.
Yes. Okay. But try to see the aspect. That's very important because it's important that you learn to see the truth. That's what we're all here to do, is to see the truth in everything. Okay? Now, you go through all the attributes of the shadow. Okay? Then, you know, if someone's angry with you or someone's done something and you're not sure what it is, just look at all those attributes. You'll see very clearly then which of those attributes that it is, you know, that this person's showing you. Okay? So, second step. Recognize what you see in the other person is what you have not forgiven in yourself. What you see in this person, what is it you see? What is the aspect of the ego that you see and recognize? Okay? So, the problem is that it is inside my own mind, which I have denied and I have projected it out. Okay? Now, we can do this with the special hates, and we can also do this with the special loves. So when we find ourselves putting someone up on a pedestal, okay, we do the exact same process as this. All right? So we recognize that this is a special love. All right? This is a part of our persona.
That we
This
love.
Huh?
That we love.
No, we're denying the shadow. but we're recognizing the persona.
Right.
Okay, so you're bringing both back inside you because you're projecting both out. All right, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so it's always an aspect of your own mind that needs correction, whether it's the special love or the special hate. Never ever think it's this other person that needs to be corrected, fixed, or helped. Only your ego will try and see another ego, and only your ego will try and correct another ego. Remember, there's only one ego, and it always belongs to you, the perceiver. So, never move on to step 3 until you have fulfilled this part.
Sorry?
Don't move on to step 3 until you recognize the aspect in step 2. Okay, so step 3. You undo and remove the judgment. So, the course states, it is in the instant that the therapist begins to judge the patient that healing occurs. Okay?
Can you repeat that, please? Oh, yeah.
It is in the instant that the therapist forgets to judge the patient that healing occurs. So what this means is, right, it's like a detective who is at a crime scene. He's going to look and he's going to recognize and he's going to say, well, this person's innocent.
It seems that the therapist forgets.
To judge the patient that healing occurs.
Forgets
Not
to judge.
judging.
Yeah. It's really what he's saying is being without judgment. Healing only occurs without judgment. So it's kind of like the detective, all right, at the scene of a crime. He's going to find out who's guilty and who's innocent. So when he says, okay, this person's innocent, it removes them from the scene of the crime. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And then he says, right, this person's guilty. So in the case of me and Joe, I recognize Joe's innocent, so he's out of the picture. I'm removing him now out of judgment. And I'm recognizing also the guilty person here is me. Okay, because it's my projection. All right? So what we do is we undo and remove judgment. Yeah?
So, what's the thing? Undo and remove.
Yeah. So, remember that this person is just a mirror reflecting back to you how you see yourself. You must own that projection that you see in them. If you deny the projection, you will always keep projecting it. Alright? Judgment says that you've attacked me and now I'm justified in defending myself against that. So that's the ego's judgment. Okay? That this person is attacking you and now you must defend yourself, and the way the ego defends is always to attack back. And that means we blame the other person. You've hurt me, you've been angry, or if you hadn't said this, or if you hadn't done that, I wouldn't be feeling the way I am. So now in the third step, you remove your judgment on this person, and what is left is the ego aspect that you have projected out. Step 4, undo projection by owning and releasing. In the fourth step now, the person has been removed and all is left is the anger and its projection. So I lift my anger back into myself. I take full responsibility for it. Okay? That's me owning it. And by me simply saying to myself or recognizing that's me, that's pulling back that projection. Jesus says in the Course, forgiveness is simply lifting back your dark projections. And the way we do that, we take responsibility. We say, that's mine. Okay? And then in step 5, release and heal. And all we do in this simple step here is now that it's inside me, I have the power now to hand this over, to release this.
Say that again, please. Step 5.
Heal and release.
Heal.
Heal and release.
Let's
Okay?
surrender, yeah.
Yeah, well, you're sort of giving over.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're really doing here is if I keep the projection and I say the projection is Joe's fault, I have no power to release that. I need to take ownership of it first, because we can only give over what we claim to be our own. I can't say, Joe, I'm going to heal you. Okay, that's the ego's form of healing.
So every time we react, we have to do this.
Yes.
And is the matter, the time period, if you do it at the end of the day, or do you need to do it?
Listen, it could take you maybe 2 days before you realise that you've made a mistake.
You get irritated, say.
Doesn't matter. Time is an illusion. So you could do this with something that happened 20 years ago. You could do this with someone happened 10 years ago. Maybe you had an argument with somebody, you can do it now. Time is an illusion. Time is only here to give us time to change our mind. And what we're changing our mind about is how we perceive other people, which means how we perceive ourselves. Remember, how we perceive other people is always how we perceive ourselves. Okay? So step 5 is basically, now that I have this, I just hand this over and say, I give this to you. I give this anger to you. I give this guilt to you. I give this fear to you, whatever the aspect is. Don't ever ask the higher power to take anything away. Because what you're really saying is, I want to stay separate, but I don't want to feel afraid. No. You give it over. Jesus says that in chapter 2. Fear's your responsibility. When you ask me to take it away, you're saying it's not. So here he's saying very clearly, don't ask me to take anything away. You hand it over. Okay?
What? Hand it over.
Yeah.
And the difference is that you're...
When you're handing it over, you're actually now disassociating from
Making a
the
decision.
ego thought system. You're outside the ego thought system. Let me explain. When you're asking, all right, for something to be taken away, you're staying here. And you're saying, here, take this away from me. But I'm not willing, all right, to hand this over. Yeah. So when you hand this over, you're actually going here. Now you can hand it over. You can't hand it from here to here. Or you can't stay here and ask Spirit to take this away from us. So what you're really saying is, I want to stay separate, but I don't want to feel guilty or afraid. I don't want to feel angry. It's impossible. Okay? So when you're handing this over, you're actually going into your right mind, and now you're making that hand over the gifts. And Jesus says, you give me everything you don't want, and I'll give you everything you do want.
You come to peace.
Yes, and that's what you want. Even though you don't realize that's what you want. Okay?
John,
So,
yeah. Can I ask you, when you're doing this for the positive,
yes.
the persona, so say it was honesty, so seeing you was honest and I'm taking that back. Am I giving up that I have judged myself as not good enough for being honest, or am I giving up that I value honesty? What am I giving up there?
You see, when you, right, are seeing honesty in other people, you're aspiring to that.
Yeah.
You see, you are honest.
Yeah.
But now you're being dishonest when you're trying to be someone you're not. And that's what the persona is.
So I see you as honest, and I think that's great, and I think I'm less than you in my honesty stakes.
Yes.
What am I taking back?
You're taking back your persona. You're taking back this image that you want to see in me that you want.
I'm taking back that I want to be seen as honest.
Yes, yes. And you're not recognized, you're not recognized inside that you are truly honest. So
I'm giving up the judgment that I'm not honest.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And that's, you see, when you're aspiring to be something, you're saying, I'm not. You know,
Okay.
you're in denial. Like Jesus says in the Course, God give us everything. We don't need anything. But when we go seeking for a persona, or special loves, we're denying everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
We should take action to get it.
Exactly.
Instead of just being it.
Being. It's your state of being that you're going to recognize that you are everything. There is nothing that you're not. When we go seeking for a persona, or go seeking to aspire what we see in other people, we're actually separating. And now we think we need this, because we've denied everything. Do you know? So as long as we're seeking outside of ourselves for, any of these, if we're seeking outside of ourselves for any of these, then we're creating personas left, right, or shadows left, right, and center. Because we're in duality. For every one of these, there's a negative. It's impossible. Because these are the cause, these are the effects. So when you start, right, I don't need to be honest. Look at the characteristics of the teacher of God. All I need to do is practice forgiveness. No, I'm being honest. Okay.
Is the word duality, is it?
Yeah. Well, that's perception. That's consciousness. As long as you're in consciousness, all right, that means there's going to be something. You're going to be separate from something. You have to be conscious of something. This is why heaven's a state of non-consciousness.
Non-duality.
Because there's no separation. As long as you have separation, you're going to have good, you're going to have bad. You're going to have the innocent, you're going to have the guilty. As long as you're seeing innocent people, what you're really saying is they're guilty people. Either we're all innocent, or there's nobody innocent.
And have you ever heard that book, Dying to Be Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's nearly like, because you know the way we can talk about it and then you're kind of like, ah. But that book gave a real, like, very practical.
Anita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very practical of like, this is what it actually looks like.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she, in her book, was saying about she believed it was karmic, you know, it caused an effect.
Yeah.
But when she, where she went, she realised that
Yeah.
none of that really exists in the one true state.
I had the same experience.
Had you?
Yeah, exact same experience.
Emotion.
Yeah. So I want to show you one other thing before we finish up. And this is very crucial to understand, right? Because everything here is so complicated. All right? So, we have the love and we have the hate. Right? Two states, okay, in duality. When you have the love, when you rationalize it, you lose it. When you have the hate and you rationalize it, you keep it. So this, what this really means is this, right? Say you meet someone and you fall head over heels in love with that person.
Never again.
And you think, and this is what a rationalization is, it's a lie that we tell ourselves over and over again that's simply not true. So you rationalize now, the reason why I am in love and I'm feeling this is because of this wonderful person that I've met. You're guaranteed one thing, you will lose this feeling.
And they'll fall from the pedestal.
Of course, but that's what you're doing by rationalizing it. You're going to make them fall from the pedestal.
Leading them up.
Could you
All
say
right.
that again, Max?
You meet someone and you fall deeply in love with them, all right? And you rationalize this feeling you have is because you've met this wonderful person. You're rationalizing the love that's inside you. This person is
You're
only,
making them responsible for that love, is that it?
this person is only showing you what's already inside. We are love, and we have an abundance of love that's inside of us all the time. Let me just come back to you, right? Let's say, all right, now, all right, that I meet you and I hate you, all right? And when I rationalize in my hatred of you, I'm keeping the hatred inside myself. It's the opposite. All right? As long as I keep rationalizing the hatred, I keep the hatred inside me. It's the opposite. Why is this? Why is it totally reversed?
Because hate is hate, not a natural state.
Because you see, the ego, right, is everything that heaven is not. So the biggest fear that the ego has is your peace, your joy, and your love. And it's always trying to disassociate it from it. It's trying to keep your awareness from it. Yeah? So what the ego's clever plan is to rationalize it, to say, it's not inside you, it's because you've met this special person. Okay? And it's the same, maybe someone says or buys you something and you're feeling really happy. The happiness is inside you. If you don't rationalize it, you'll keep it. It's the same with love. If you don't rationalize the love, you'll keep it inside. It'll grow stronger and stronger. So here's the key, all right? This is what the special loves do. They make us feel really good, yeah? If we don't rationalize it, and we recognize, and this is the part of forgiveness, if we recognize, all right, that the love is inside me all the time, that it's not coming from this person. Now we're not projecting onto this person a special love. And if we do the same then with someone with special hate, we recognize this person is only showing me my own hatred. That's also forgiveness. It's just another way of doing this in a more simpler form. The key here is the love, the hate is always inside of us. And we'll meet certain people outside of us that will trigger both. And as long as we keep rationalizing, oh, these are the people, this people make me really feel good.
Do we create our own circumstances?
Of course we do. You create everything. Everything. Because the Course tells us, I give meaning to everything I say. It doesn't say some things, everything. So we're here creating, miscreating all the time. Okay? So, as long as you're rationalizing every good feeling that you have, all right, you're going to lose it. As long as you're rationalizing every part of self-hatred, guilt, fear, whatever it is, you're going to keep it. Because the ego is always trying to keep peace, joy, and love out of your awareness. And the way it does that, it says, these are special people. Okay? And then when we feel the hate inside us, the ego saying, well, you're all right, but it's these people that have done this to you. That's why it was the greatest insight that was shown to me. There's nothing external to you that can cause you any pain that's not already inside you. From the moment we're born, all of that pain of the belief in separation is inside each and every one of us. And as long as we keep rationalizing it, either good or bad, then we're losing the love and we're keeping the hate. Does this make sense? So, all you have to do from now on is if you are with someone and they're making you feel and you feel this love, is for you to bring back that projection and say, wow, this is inside me. Now love gets a chance to grow. And the more the love grows, and you bring back the hates, the love being everything and the hate being an illusion, the love will dissolve all illusions, will dissolve the hate. So it goes back to this. Instead of, right, projecting out the love, we bring it back in by recognizing it's always inside me. These people, these special people in my life are showing me something that's inside me. And we do the same with the hate. We bring back the hate and we say, the hatred in these people that I see is only a part of myself that I have denied. And when we bring this in, this starts to dissolve. And this becomes one. As long as you keep projecting it out, it keeps it separate. All three parts. And that's how simple this all is. It's just recognizing that everybody in this world is either love or hate, but it's still me.
We've been talking about shadow and about the persona. What about the personality?
What the personality is, basically what it is, it's becoming, you know, there's...
The personality really contains the two, doesn't it?
Yes. So we split the personality, we take good parts of the personality and then we increase it by adapting more and more personas. We take everything out of the personality we don't like, and then because we're increasing the persona, which is everything we like in other people, we're creating a bigger shadow.
The whole thing is the personality.
The whole thing, yes, you can say that. But what we're doing is we're breaking this down. Okay? And that's what Jesus does in the Course. This is the special hits. This is the special loves. So you could say, really, that this becomes the new personality, the persona in the shadow.
Really like you're saying personality there is the essence that we...
Yes. It's the separated self. Okay? Any questions on that? Does everybody got it?
Yeah. For now.
For now. Yeah?
Where does attachments come into all of these attachments?
Well, you see, the attachments basically are all that enhance the persona and this. You know, again, you know, we do this with people and we do this with, you might buy a car, you might hate the freaking car and regret that you're buying it. Well, that's a part of you that you're showing your own self-hatred. You know, attachments can be people, they can be objects, they can be places, they can be anything, you know. So we have attachments to things that we like. We have
But we would
attachments.
have more attachment to another soul than a car.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
I mean, the hatred would be stronger.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, a
It's the
little
same.
bit of hatred is the same as a big bit of
Can you
hatred.
explain that again about rationalise love and you lose it, rationalise hate and you keep it?
Right.
Because we are love.
The ego wants, the ego is everything that heaven is not. Right? It's trying to be everything that heaven is not. So therefore, what is heaven? It's a state of pure peace, eternal joy, and endless bliss. The ego's greatest fear is that you will find any peace in your life. It's always trying to take your peace away. So, that means, say, right? Everybody leaves the house and your mother makes you a lovely dinner. And now puts a cushion down and says, "There's son now," you know, and you're lying there in a great peace. Now you're rationalising that because everybody's out of the house and you have a full belly and it's nice, peace, quiet. You're rationalising your peace. You're saying circumstances now, the ego's saying circumstances now have created this peace. Nothing to do with the peace inside you. It's the same with joy. Alright, you're in this state of joy because you got a great dinner, you got steak, alright? And now you're thinking, "Oh, I'm so happy I got a big steak." You're rationalising your joy on the steak. And again, then you might go out and meet 2 or 3 beautiful women and you take them all home. You could be in this, wow, so much love. And the reason why you're so much love is because you have all these beautiful women around you. You're rationalising your love. So the ego wants you to get rid of that. So it rationalizes it. It's saying, this is not inside you. It's just because these circumstances outside you have created this inside you. You see, the ego always wants you to become identified with hate. So therefore, what it's really saying now is when people hate you or people say things and you feel angry, it's always blaming these people for it. See, the ego wants to reinforce this world is real all the time. That's where its whole...
Separation.
Yes. So therefore, it's everything in this world is creating either your peace, your love, your joy, or your anger, irritation, and annoyance is always coming from outside you. It's never inside. So that keeps the persona and the shadow always separate. Okay? So you recognize now everything good in your life, every good emotional feeling that you have, it's got nothing to do with anything outside me. It's always been inside me. And you do the same with a hate. You bring both in the same. Both of those are forms of forgiveness. You know, and that's really so. And Jesus says throughout the course, this course is simple. This course is simple. Now, what we just did today is 16 chapters of the text on this one concept, from chapter 15 to chapter 31. You know.
Could I just go through the 5 steps again?
Yeah.
Say anxious about making a presentation, right? So the first thing I do is recognize...
It's my call for love.
It's my call for love, yeah. Second thing I do is...
What has made me angry?
Say anxiety, right? What has made you anxious, right?
Yeah.
And where does the answer come in?
It's always yourself. It's always a projection of yourself.
Right, so I don't need to look for an answer, I just say...
No, but you know, were you talking about another person?
No, I'm about myself. Just say I...
Oh, right, just yourself.
I make a presentation
yes.
I've been anxious about it.
Yeah, well you're rationalising now that it's the presentation that makes you anxious.
Yeah.
So you recognise that it's not the presentation that's making you anxious.
Myself.
It's you're projecting onto the presentation that's making you anxious. The same as another person.
Okay, so I recognise that.
Yeah.
Number 3 then.
Is now you're saying it's got nothing to do
with the external.
With the external. It's always been inside me. This is a part of me.
Which I know, yeah. And
yes.
Number 4.
Number 4 then is basically where you take full responsibility to this.
Number 5
Is just, you don't want this, I give this over to the higher power. And you'll wait, you know, the reason why I broke it down like this is because...
Everything be okay then?
Yeah. Well, you've just healed a part of your mind. You've just woken up another little bit. Every time that you apply a forgiveness lesson, you're opening your eyes a little bit.
Just to go a little bit further. Let's say I go out to do the presentation and I get very, it doesn't go well, that's because I haven't applied it properly.
Well, it's just that
Or does it matter?
at the end of the day, we can only do this little bits at a time.
Yeah.
So when you go away, don't go away thinking you haven't done it right. Because that's the ego always. The ego's trying to convince you that forgiveness doesn't work. So it's going, well, look, at you done it and it didn't work. But we have big, big blocks, like I did before, right? Let's say the anxiety inside you is like this, all right? That's the big block. So every time you have a presentation, you apply forgiveness, that's another bit gone. Next time, another bit gone. Another bit gone. Another bit gone. Another. And one day then, what happens is, it's gone. All right? Each forgiveness lesson will always chipping away at that block that's inside you.
If I mess up, then I just go back to...
That's always a lesson for you. You know, at the end of the day. You see, because if you mess up, you're putting an image onto yourself that you want to be seen to be good. And then, you know, that sounds reasonable that you want to be seen to be good. But the reason why you'd be fearful of that is because you don't want to be seen to be not good. So you're really identifying with your persona here, and you're enhancing your persona, which also enhances your shadow that you're not good. You get it? You know, if you can go and just be in that state and say to yourself, right, I'm going to do the best that I can, and that's it. You know, free yourself from that judgment of being liked or not being liked. Because once you buy into the story that you have to be good to be liked, or you have to be good to be seen to be successful, then you're buying into the shadow and you're going to project that onto yourself. You know, so it's not about being seen to be anything.
So don't take sides. You know, if I'm worried about being good or not being good.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. But recognize what you're doing. You know, just recognize, okay, you know, right, I want to be seen to be good. And then you say, no, I don't need to be seen to be good. You know, I'm just going to do the best that I can and accept whatever happens. Now you're not creating a shadow. You're not creating a part of yourself that's saying that you're not good enough. When you want to be good enough, you're really saying there's a part of me that's not good enough. You're reinforcing that darkness inside yourself.
To always look at the opposite of something.
Yes. You know, you work this out in your head because this is what it's all about. You're in denial of this. So bring this into awareness, bring this into being, and the more awareness that you have of everything here, then it's all going to just, you know, filter away. You know, awareness is the key of this. You can't do this if you're not aware. And as long as you keep rationalizing, that's keeping you unaware. Because that's what unawareness does. It blames everybody and everything for everything that's wrong in our lives. Yeah? Good enough?
Yeah.
Happy?
Yeah. Thank you.